You. Yes, you. Scrolling on that phone. Before we start, remember something for me. There is no substitute for getting into the Word of God on your own. I am a line on a screen. The book is alive. Read it. Now, let me tell you about a king who had everything. And I mean everything. Wealth beyond imagination. Wisdom beyond any human being before or since. 700 wives. The biggest temple ever built. And it was not enough. This is 1Kings. Here is the question 1Kings asks. What happens when the wisest man who ever lived, slowly, gradually, one compromise at a time, turns away from the God who made him wise? Not a dramatic fall, not a scandal. A drift. A wife from here, an alliance from there, a small shrine on that hill for her God, another one for his other wife's God. And one morning he wakes up and he cannot hear the voice that gave him everything. That is Solomon's story. And if it happened to the wisest man alive, what do you think it means for you? Solomon, son of David, the wisest man who ever lived. God appeared to him in a dream and said, "Ask for anything." Solomon asked for wisdom. God was so pleased he gave him wisdom and everything else. Wealth, peace, honor. Solomon built the temple, the most magnificent structure in Israelite history. Cedar from Lebanon, gold overlay on every surface. 2 enormous cherubim. The Ark of the Covenant placed inside. And when the glory of the Lord filled the temple, the priests could not stand to minister. That was the peak. Then 700 wives. Many from nations God had told Israel not to intermarry with. Slowly, year by year, they turned his heart toward their gods. He built high places for Chemosh, for Molech, for the gods of his foreign wives, on the hills around Jerusalem, in plain sight of the temple he had built for the living God. God said, "Because you have done this, I will tear the kingdom from your son." After Solomon died, the kingdom split. 10 tribes to the north under Jeroboam, 2 tribes in the south under Rehoboam. Jeroboam immediately set up 2 golden calves, one in Dan, one in Bethel. "This," he said, "is your God." The pattern of the northern kingdom was set, king after king after king, and not one of them good. Then Elijah, one prophet, standing alone on Mount Carmel against 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah. He rebuilt the altar. He drenched it in water.
He prayed one prayer, and fire fell from heaven. The God who answers by fire, he is God. And then, after the greatest public victory a prophet had ever experienced, Elijah ran. He was afraid. He hid in a cave. God came to find him. Not in the earthquake, not in the wind, not in the fire. In a still, small voice. A whisper. The God of fire is also the God of whispers. And sometimes the whisper is louder than the fire. Listen to me now. Solomon did not fall because he was stupid. He was the wisest man alive. He fell because wisdom without obedience is just impressive talk. You know this. You have watched someone brilliant destroy their own life. Maybe you have been that person. The drift is the danger, not the dramatic sin. The slow, daily, quiet compromise that you barely notice until the day you realize you cannot hear God anymore. That is 1Kings, the wisest man alive, drifted, lost, and the kingdom torn in half because of it. What are you drifting toward right now? There is a thread.
Solomon built a temple. It was magnificent. But no human-built temple can hold the presence of God forever. Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." He was speaking of his own body. The temple Solomon built was a shadow of the one who was coming, the one whose body would be the dwelling place of God with humanity. The fire on Carmel? That was a preview. The ultimate fire, the one that consumed sin itself, fell on a cross outside Jerusalem. And the still small voice? The God who whispers in the cave to a terrified prophet is the same God who stands at the door and knocks. Follow the thread. I cannot make you read it. I can only show you the thread and hand you the book. 1 Kings, 22 chapters. Read chapter 3, the wisdom of Solomon. Read chapter 18, the fire on Carmel. Read chapter 19, the cave and the whisper. The wisest man in history drifted away from God. The most dramatic prophet in history ran away from God. And God came after both of them. He is coming after you too. Here, read it. I will see you in the next one.